She rejected the billionaire's marriage proposal in front of everyone. He said, "Wait. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Romance Rewind Stories. Before we dive into today's incredible story, I have a small favor to ask. If you're enjoying these heartwarming tales, please hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our latest uploads. It's quick, it's free, and it's the best way to support us in bringing you more emotional romance stories. And here's something I'd love to know. Where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. I always enjoy seeing our amazing community from around the world. Oh, and if this story touches your heart, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps us grow and reach more people who love these kinds of tales. Now, let's get into today's story. She rejected the billionaire's marriage proposal in front of everyone. He said, "Wait." The charity gala glittered with Manhattan's elite, designer gowns, champagne flowing freely, and enough diamonds to blind anyone who looked too closely. Seren Ashford stood near the edge of the ballroom in a borrowed dress, feeling like an imposter among all this wealth. At 31, she was a social worker who'd spent her day in the Bronx, helping families navigate housing assistance. Now she was here because her best friend had begged her to attend, insisting she needed one night of glamour. What Seren didn't expect was Hawk Sterling. She'd known Hawk for 6 months, ever since his company had sponsored the community center where she worked. He'd shown up for the ribbon cutting, all sharp suits and sharper cheekbones, 35 years old and already a billionaire tech mogul. She'd expected him to cut the ribbon, give a speech, and disappear back to his world of board meetings and stock options. Instead, he'd stayed, asked questions, actually listened to the answers, and somehow, impossibly, they'd become friends. Coffee meetings that turned into long conversations, volunteer days where he'd rolled up his expensive sleeves and painted walls alongside her, text messages that made her laugh at 2 a.m. But friends was all they were, all they could be. Because Seren had learned the hard way that mixing her world with the world of the wealthy only led to heartbreak. "You look beautiful tonight." Hawk's voice came from behind her, sending an involuntary shiver down her spine. Seren turned to find him devastatingly handsome in a tuxedo, his dark eyes warm as they met hers. "You look like you belong here," she replied. "I look like I'm playing dress-up." "You look like the only real thing in this room," Hawk corrected, moving to stand beside her. "Everyone else is performing. You're just being you." Before Seren could respond, the bandleader's voice cut through the chatter. "Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. Mr. Hawk Sterling has an announcement." Seren's stomach dropped. This wasn't planned. Hawk looked as surprised as she felt. "What's going on?" she whispered. But Hawk was already being pulled toward the stage by enthusiastic event organizers. He shot her an apologetic look before taking the microphone. "Thank you all for coming tonight," he began, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet ballroom. "As many of you know, I've been involved with the Riverside Community Center for the past 6 months, and it's been one of the most meaningful experiences of my life." Seren's heart started to race. Where was this going? "The reason it's been meaningful," Hawk continued, his eyes finding hers across the crowd, "is because of one person. Seren Ashford, could you come up here?" Every head in the room turned to look at her. Seren felt frozen, panic rising in her chest. But Hawk was looking at her with such open vulnerability that she found herself moving forward, the crowd parting like water. When she reached the stage, Hawk took her hand, and she could feel it trembling slightly. "Seren," he said, his voice softer now but still amplified by the microphone. "6 months ago I met you, and you changed everything. You showed me what really matters. You made me want to be better, do better, live better." "Hawk," she whispered, dread building, "what are you doing?" And then he was kneeling, pulling out a ring box, and Seren's world tilted on its axis. "Seren Ashford, will you marry me?" The ballroom erupted in applause and excited whispers. Cameras flashed, someone cheered, and Seren stood frozen, staring at the man kneeling before her with a ring that probably cost more than she'd earn in 5 years. No, she heard herself say. The applause stuttered to a confused halt. Hawk's expression shifted from hopeful to shocked. "What?" he said, the microphone picking up his confusion. "No," Seren repeated louder this time. "I can't marry you, Hawk. I'm sorry, but no." She pulled her hand free and walked off the stage, through the stunned crowd, out of the ballroom. Behind her she heard Hawk's voice. "Wait, Seren, wait!" But she didn't wait. She couldn't. She grabbed her coat from the check and fled into the cold New York night, leaving behind the glittering gala and the man who just proposed to her in front of 400 people. What was he thinking? Seren made it 3 blocks before the tears came, standing on a street corner in her borrowed gown and winter coat, mascara probably running, her heart breaking for reasons she couldn't fully articulate. "Seren!" Hawk's voice came from behind her, breathless from running. "Please, talk to me." She whirled around. "What were you thinking?" "A public proposal." "Hawk, we've never even kissed. We've never talked about being more than friends. How could you?" "I know," he said, running a hand through his hair, destroying its careful styling. "I know it was crazy. My publicist suggested it, said it would be romantic, and I wanted to show you how I felt." "By ambushing me in front of half of Manhattan," Serene's voice rose, "by putting me on the spot where saying no would humiliate you and saying yes would trap me." Hawk flinched. "That's not what I meant to do." "But that's what you did," Seren said, fresh tears spilling over. "God, Hawk, this is exactly why this could never work between us." "What do you mean?" "You live in a world where proposals are publicity stunts, orchestrated by publicists," Seren said. "I live in a world where I'm helping families avoid eviction and trying to make sure kids have enough to eat. We're too different." "We're not," Hawk insisted, stepping closer. "Seren, everything I said up there was true. You have changed me. I do want to be better because of you. I'm in love with you." Serene's breath caught. "Don't say that." "Why not?" "It's true. Because it makes this harder," she whispered. "Hawk, I can't be what you need. I can't be the wife who attends galas and smiles for cameras and lives in your world. I tried that once before, with someone else, and it destroyed me. I won't do it again." Understanding dawned in Hawk's eyes. There was someone else. "His name was Garrett," Seren said, hugging herself against the cold. "Old money, charity board trustee. I met him at a fundraiser 4 years ago. He said he loved me, that our differences didn't matter, but they did. His family treated me like a curiosity at best, a gold digger at worst. His friends made jokes about how the other half lives, and slowly I stopped being me. I tried to fit into his world, and I lost myself completely." "I'm not him," Hawk said firmly. "No," Seren agreed, "but you're from the same world, and tonight proved it. That proposal wasn't about us. It was a performance for an audience." "You're right," Hawk said quietly. "And I'm sorry. I was nervous, and my publicist was in my ear, and I let myself get convinced that grand gestures were romantic instead of honest." He moved closer, close enough that she could see the pain in his eyes. "But Seren, the feelings are real. What I feel for you, that's not performance. That's the most real thing in my life." "I can't," Seren whispered. "I'm sorry, but I can't." She turned and walked away, leaving Hawk standing alone on the street corner, the ring box still in his hand. The next 3 weeks were torture. Seren threw herself into work, trying not to check her phone every 5 minutes to see if Hawk had texted. He hadn't. After that night, he'd gone completely silent, which was what she wanted, what she'd asked for. "So why did it hurt so much?" "You look terrible," her best friend Maya observed one afternoon, bringing coffee to Seren's cramped office at the community center. "Thanks," Seren said dryly. "I'm serious. You've been miserable since the gala. Maybe you should talk to him. There's nothing to talk about, Seren insisted. It wouldn't work. We're too different. Are you? Maya challenged. Because from what I saw, Hawk Sterling spent 6 months volunteering here, learning about your work, becoming part of your world. That doesn't sound like someone who's too different. One public proposal disagrees with you, Seren muttered. One mistake, Maya corrected, which he immediately recognized and apologized for. Seren, you're punishing him for someone else's crimes. Before Seren could respond, there was a knock at her door. She looked up to find a teenage boy she recognized, Marcus, one of the kids from the after-school program. Ms. Ashford, Mr. Sterling sent me. He wants you to come to the old Riverside building. He says it's important. Serene's heart skipped. Is he okay? Yeah, he's fine. He just really wants you there. Wants. Against her better judgment, Seren followed Marcus through the streets to the abandoned building on Riverside Drive that had been sitting empty for years, a prime target for developers, but so far untouched. Except now, it was surrounded by construction equipment, and standing in front of it, looking nervous and determined, was Hawk. What is this? Seren asked as she approached. This is me proving I understand, Hawk said. That I get why you said no, and that I'm willing to change. He gestured to the building. I bought this property 3 weeks ago. I'm converting it into affordable housing, 60 units for families who need them, with below-market rents and no profit margin. There's also going to be a full community center on the ground floor, an expansion of the Riverside program. Seren stared at him. Hawk! Let me finish, he said quickly. I know this doesn't fix what I did at the gala. I know I can't erase that moment with a grand gesture, but I needed you to see that I heard you. I understand that my world and your world, they need to be the same world, and I'm choosing yours. You can't just choose my world, Seren protested. That's not how this works. No, Hawk agreed. But I can choose to use my resources to support the things you care about. I can choose to live differently, prioritize differently. I can choose to be the kind of man you might actually want to be with. He took a step closer, and Seren could see the vulnerability in his eyes, the same vulnerability that had terrified her at the gala. But now, in this quiet moment, with no cameras or audience, felt heartbreakingly genuine. I'm not asking you to marry me, Hawk continued. Not yet, maybe not for years. But I'm asking if you'd consider giving us a real chance, not a public spectacle. Just us, figuring it out together. Hawk. I love you, he interrupted. I'm in love with you. And I know you feel something for me too, even if you're scared. So I'm asking, can we really try? No publicity, no performances, just 2 people who care about each other seeing if they can build something real. Seren felt tears building again, but this time they weren't from hurt or anger. I am scared, she admitted. Terrified, actually, because what I feel for you, it's bigger than anything I felt for Garrett. And if this goes wrong, then we'll survive it, Hawk said. But what if it goes right? What if we're good together? What if I'm not Garrett and you're not the person who tried to change for him? What if we just get to be us? I don't know how to do this, Seren whispered. Neither do I, Hawk admitted. But I want to learn. With you. He pulled something from his pocket, not the ring box from the gala, but a simple folded piece of paper. This is a list, he explained, handing it to her. Everything I want to change about how I live. More volunteering, less pointless networking. More meaningful work, less publicity. More time with people who matter, less time with people who just want something from me. I wrote it the night you said no, when I was trying to understand what went wrong. Seren unfolded the paper with shaking hands. The list was long, detailed, and clearly written with her feedback in mind. At the bottom, in Hawk's precise handwriting, build a life worth inviting Seren into. Be a man worthy of her. You wrote this 3 weeks ago? She asked, her voice breaking. The night of the gala, he confirmed. I've been working on it ever since. the housing project, cutting back on publicity events, volunteering more at the center. I'm not doing it to win you back. I'm doing it because you were right. I was performing my life instead of living it. Seren looked up at him. This man who'd humiliated her with a public proposal, but who'd also spent 3 weeks fundamentally changing his life based on her criticism. "This is crazy," she said. "Probably," Hawk agreed. "But so is walking away from something that could be amazing because we're scared." "I really hurt you that night," Seren said, "saying no in front of everyone." "You were honest," Hawk interrupted. "And yeah, it hurt. But it also woke me up, made me realize I'd been approaching this all wrong. You deserve better than a spectacle. You deserve something real." "And this is real," Seren gestured to the building, the list, everything. "This is me trying to build something real," Hawk corrected. "But it only works if you give us a chance." Seren looked at the building, at the construction equipment, at the future Hawk was trying to build. Then she really looked at him and saw not the billionaire from the gala, but the man who'd painted walls at the community center, who'd listened to her stories about her work with genuine interest, who'd apparently spent 3 weeks rethinking his entire life because she'd called him out. "Okay," she said quietly. Hawk's eyes widened. "Okay, we can try," Seren clarified. "Slowly, no public proposals, no performances, just us figuring it out." The smile that broke across Hawk's face was blinding. "Really?" Seren confirmed. "But Hawk, if you ever pull something like that gala proposal again—" "I won't," he promised quickly. "Never again. Everything between us happens in private, on our terms, nobody else's." "Good," Seren said. Then, because she'd been wanting to for 6 months, "Now are you going to kiss me? Or do I have to do everything myself?" Hawk laughed and closed the distance between them, cupping her face gently. "I've been wanting to do this since the day we met," he murmured. When he kissed her, it was nothing like the grand romantic moment at the gala would have been. There was no audience, no cameras, no applause. Just 2 people who'd finally stopped being afraid of what they felt, standing in front of a building that represented a shared future, kissing in the winter sunlight. "I'm still mad at you about the gala," Seren said when they finally broke apart. "I know," Hawk replied, resting his forehead against hers. "I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you." "That's very dramatic." "I'm trying to scale back on drama, but old habits die hard," he teased. Seren laughed, and it felt like relief, like joy, everything she'd been holding back for 3 weeks, finally releasing. "So, what happens now?" she asked. "Now," Hawk said, "I take you to dinner at that tiny Thai place you love. We talk about real things, and then I walk you home and kiss you goodnight like a gentleman. And tomorrow? Tomorrow I'm volunteering at the center in the morning. Maybe you'll be there." "I'm always there," Seren said. "I know," Hawk smiled. "It's one of the things I love about you." The next 6 months weren't always easy. Hawk had to navigate disappointing business associates and family members who didn't understand why he was slumming it with charity work. Seren had to work through her fear of being hurt again, learning to trust that Hawk wasn't Garrett. But slowly, steadily, they built something real. Dinners at hole-in-the-wall restaurants instead of 5-star establishments. Weekends volunteering together instead of attending galas. Quiet evenings in Seren's small apartment, talking about everything and nothing. "You know what's funny?" Seren said one evening, curled up on her couch with Hawk. "That disastrous proposal ended up being the best thing that could have happened." Hawk groaned. "Please don't remind me." "No, I'm serious," Seren insisted. "If you'd proposed privately, if I'd said yes, we would have rushed into marriage without dealing with all this stuff. The public rejection forced us to have hard conversations we might have avoided." "So you're saying humiliating me in front of 400 people was good for our relationship?" Hawk asked dryly. "I'm saying that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes," Seren clarified, kissing him softly. "And I'm glad you didn't give up on us." "Never," Hawk promised. Though next time I propose, and there will be a next time, it'll be very private. Good, Seren said, because next time I'm saying yes. 2 years later, Hawk kept that promise. No audience, no cameras, no publicity, just the two of them at the Riverside housing complex, now complete and thriving, where it had all truly begun. Seren Ashford, he said, taking her hands in his, I'm not going to kneel this time because I think we're past grand gestures. But I want to spend my life with you. I want to build more projects like this one together. I want to wake up next to you every morning and fall asleep beside you every night. Will you marry me? Yes, Seren said, tears streaming down her face. 1,000 times yes. This time, when he put the ring on her finger, a simple band they'd designed together, nothing like the ostentatious diamond from the gala, it felt exactly right. Their wedding was small and intimate, held at the community center where they'd met, surrounded by the people who mattered. No press, no society pages, just love and commitment and the promise of a shared future. Remember when I said no to you in front of everyone? Seren whispered as they danced. How could I forget? Hawk replied, though he was smiling. Thank you for waiting, she said, for not giving up, for becoming someone I could say yes to. Thank you for being brave enough to say no when I needed to hear it, Hawk countered. You saved us by rejecting that proposal. You gave us a chance to do this right. And as they danced, surrounded by the community they'd built together and the life they'd chosen, Seren knew that sometimes the most beautiful love stories start with a public rejection, a private reckoning, and two people brave enough to try again in a better way. Because sometimes saying no to the wrong proposal is the only way to get to the right one. And that's where our story ends today. What did you think? Did Seren and Hawk's second chance love story touch your heart? Let us know in the comments what your favorite moment was. If you enjoyed this story, we have so many more waiting for you. Check out our playlist for more heartwarming romance tales that will make you believe in love all over again. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give us a thumbs up. Your support means everything to us. Until next time, keep believing in love, keep believing in second chances, and remember, the best stories are the ones that remind us we all deserve our happily ever after. See you in the next story.